code compliant deck is a structure that all of its facets meet that jurisdiction's codes. So those can vary from municipality to municipality. And it also means that those have been inspected and recorded as such. So just because you say you have a code compliant deck doesn't mean that it's necessarily code compliant if it's not been verified and recorded. There are a lot of different rules that go to ledger attachment, pier sizes, beam spans, joist spacing, joist sizes, stair rise and run, guardrail heights. There are a number of things, and there's tangents off of all those things that make it code compliant. And in addition to that, all of those things are also left up to the discretion of the field inspector, who can determine if you've done them as he interprets the code and if they're done in a professional manner. So there's not really, a checklist of things. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of things to make sure that it's code compliant. But generally speaking, it needs to be approved by your local jurisdiction, and they have to sign off on it to say it's code compliant. Any permit that's required, we're always going to pull and pass that permit. And kind of the ambiguous thing in our area is some of these building code departments are not diligent about making sure their permits get closed out. And this is something we see a big problem with. A lot of homeowners think that if they have a building permit that their deck is code compliant. That doesn't mean that. A building permit gives you permission to build something the way it's drawn up. It does not mean that it's done that way. So we always make sure our permits get closed out, and that means that we call and schedule certain inspections because we would be the permit holder. They come out and inspect the deck and then sign off on it. But I'm sure there's a lot of builders that don't permit their deck at all, or pull a permit and then never close it out. And if you do that, that permit's only valid for 180 days. So after that time, the permit becomes null. If it's not closed out, if it's not inspected and approved and passed, after 180 days of inactivity, that permit will become null and void, and it means absolutely nothing. If a permit's required, and almost always they're required for a deck or a porch, we're gonna pull the permit and we're gonna close out the permit. And most of these jurisdictions will issue, after you pass the final inspection, they'll issue a certificate of completion or a certificate of occupancy that verifies that structure is habitable.